Hello, welcome back, guys. So Alibaba is up significantly again today. At some point, it was up 10% even. Right now, it's actually down a little bit more from that point. It's still up 8.5%. It's gonna happen intraday. You're gonna get these fluctuations. This is very, very normal. But the point is that the stock is up a lot, and the Chinese markets are up a lot as well. And yesterday they were up too, about 6%, I believe, is what Alibaba did. And so overall, in the past couple of days, we have seen a gain of like 15 to 20%, depending on what's going to happen today. But what is going on in China? Let's examine the finer details here. And you want to stay tuned because there are a couple of news pieces that you may not have heard of, but they are very, very crucial to actually describe what has happened and what is happening right now in China, and can give you some very, very nice insight. So let's dig deeper a little bit. First things first, I want to examine what is going on with China overall. As the US markets, you will see they're almost neutral here, maybe a little bit down. The Dow is actually down. And NEO is sitting at a gain of 19% over here. You will see that Alibaba right now almost 9%, and JD, for instance, 7%. A lot of Chinese companies, if not most of them pretty much, are actually up significantly today, and some actually very, very significantly. So what happened? Why is this happening right now? So why Alibaba, Baidu, and other Chinese stocks rallied today? One of the most important reasons is the additional steps in the advance of easing the zero COVID policy in China. As you know, there are riots in China because there was a fire in one of the buildings over there and people were locked down. Some people actually died because of that. And then there were riots and people were breaking down barricades, and there are all sorts of things going on in China right now, with people being very, very upset at their government. And this is not a thing that you what's happening in China often. So this is substantial. Now, this is typically a good thing for stocks over here, at least in the long run, because if there is easing in terms of what is happening right now in China, there will definitely be more consistency in the results of the markets, and that's because there is going to be less insecurity. Things are going to be more certain, and so once these sort of like crackdowns and policies from China with COVID and not allowing people to work and all these things go down and dissipate, then the markets will tend to come back to normal, because markets love actually consistency, and they hate uncertainty. And amidst these lockdowns, there is a lot of uncertainty about what is going on in China, and this has brought a lot of the stocks down. Now, you will see here today, because of the pandemic-related restrictions potentially easing, you will see that shares of Baidu, Alibaba, Bilibili, which also had its earnings report, are up significantly over here. So what is happening? You will see here that in a press conference on Tuesday, government health authorities announced steps to increase the vaccination rate among the Chinese elderly population, which is at about 66% over the age of 80 over here. This is another good news piece over here in terms of the handling of COVID. It looks like, at least that's perceived by the markets. Now, you will see that widespread protests had erupted in China, the thing that I talked about. And the important thing that you will also see in regards to the market itself and the companies is Bilibili's earnings report that which announced better than expected results yesterday, and it received 2 price target increases, and obviously that affected the whole stock market in China, and the past couple of days have definitely reflected that. Now, they have, in terms of Bilibili, they have also increased their price target from to $15.5 from $12, and still maintaining a neutral rating over here. So nice things to see here from a broader perspective in China, and we'll see what is going to happen with Chinese consumer spending, which is another thing that could potentially improve as the stock markets open, as the economy, I should say, opens, and pretty much fuel spending, as the article mentions, on e-commerce platforms like Alibaba, for instance. But there are a couple of other things, other pieces of information that are very, very interesting here, and I wanted to point out. So let's take a look. China taps Alibaba and Tencent to beat US sanctions. So remember, the US had actually sanctioned China in regards to chips. And so China has enrolled tech giants Alibaba and Tencent to aid its efforts in designing semiconductor chips to reduce its dependence on SoftBank Group-owned ARM. And as you can understand, when there is this kind of operation between China and big tech, in this case tech giants like Alibaba and Tencent, it's going to be tougher to actually have more crackdown sort of like bills awarded to them. And so you would expect the climate to become much, much more positive here between the government and Alibaba and Tencent here, and the rest of the US, the Chinese market, of course, will be affected. And this is a little known piece of information which I think has deep implication in what is going to happen with the overall Chinese market here. And I think this has really affected the Chinese market to the upside, the index at least, and of course a lot of the companies with that. Very interesting one. And another interesting thing that people were talking about for quite some time now, where has Jack Ma been? And it looks like he's living in Japan after the Chinese tech crackdown. Now, for almost 6 months, he seems like he's been living in Tokyo here for almost 6 months. That's what the article is saying, after disappearing from public view following China's crackdown on the tech sector. And you may not think that this is an important thing. You may think that it's rather random, but it's very important, because remember that Jack Ma at some point came out and pretty much was very negative about the government pretty much imposing sanctions and not allowing Alibaba and big tech to operate the way they wanted. And this resulted in the antitrust fines, for example, in China, for instance. And Alibaba got one of the really large fines for antitrust rules. And so seeing Jack Ma actually fleeing and going to Tokyo for a while is good news, because it kind of tells the Chinese government that it gets out of the way, and I'm pretty sure they would like that, because one of the main reasons, if not the most important reason, that Chinese crackdowns happened was the fact that Jack Ma and sort of like the I should say the monopolistic tendencies of capitalists in China, because they do exist, of course, wanted less interference from the Chinese government, and of course they don't like that. And this is why they started imposing fines and going into crackdowns and whatever else they wanted to, trying to sort of like give a lesson to these capitalists, I suppose. So by him being away, he kind of gives a message to them that, okay, you have won, I'm out of here for a while, you do your thing, I do my thing, and I'm not gonna be involved. And kind of tells you that, right? And so I like this kind of news over here, which kind of became known recently. I didn't know about this one, frankly, and I think this is going to also play a deep role in what China is going to be doing. Again, it sounds like it's not a big piece of news, but I think it is. So I wanted to mention this one. And as I get more information about China, as we get more things happening with China, I will definitely be letting you know. But this is what I wanted to mention in this video. Thank you for watching, guys. Remember to like, that helps a ton. Just give a thumbs up. That really helps. And of course, if you're new around here, remember to subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.